Hi, welcome to today's Piece of Peace. Quite a revealing day today, and I was waking up a little heavier this morning after finishing a large portion of school that I have been studying for many years. My husband sweetly made a surprise for me last night to meet with a couple friends and just celebrate a bit. And that was very sweet. We were going to see a lawyer to put our wills together, and we were talking about which of our children are going to be our power of attorneys and all this other kind of like crazy whirlwind of a day of finishing some school, taking care of future things so our children don't have to figure it out on their own, and celebrating a little bit. However, on our way home from all of that, we ended up listening to a portion of the vice presidential debate last night. And I think I don't think it's just for me, but for some reason that seems to bring up emotion. There's so much of passion I have and what my beliefs are, and when I start to listen to what's being dialogued about between the two vice presidential candidates, my heart was heavy in listening to some of the dialogue. And I kind of came into the house not being able to listen to any more of it, honestly. I just went to bed just rather disgruntled and disillusioned on what things had become, and it got into a disagreement even with trying to hear each other's perspective, my husband and I, and it was just hard. What a hard evening after hearing that. So I think that I went to sleep just feeling kind of heavy over the state of our country, the division amongst people who are even believers, and just how heavy that was. But I wake up this morning and a dear friend of mine had sent me a clip, and just like a video clip, and proclaiming God's promises again and hanging on to them, which really turned things around for me. So I said, Lord, thank you for the clip that Pam sent me this morning. It drew my attention back to you. I said, please forgive me. I have again fallen into the pit of listening to media and debates, and I experience anger and division and a pulling away from you. I said, I'm sorry, Lord. Please forgive me. He says to me, Janelle, I've been here all along. I've not left you. There is no shame and there is no condemnation. I love you. Thank you for turning back to me. I have so much more for you, Janelle, than anything this world has to offer. Stay close. I got you, Abba. And with that, I felt his presence, much as I feel like goosebumps and waves of it, like he's just pouring his love on me. And often, I don't know, maybe not for you, but for me, often I can fall into getting sucked into the media again in our very broken world at this time, and it can take me away from the peace that God has to offer. It can take me away and bring my focus onto something that is earthly and worldly, rather than my focus being on Him and what He's doing right now, which is a lot. And then I just feel like I lost out on a few days there. And but He says, just write out your gratitude now, knowing that there's no shame and condemnation, knowing that I love you and that I've got you. And I just thanked Him for the sunshine, for the Bible, for Highlander grog from my friend Stephen Shelley. That's coffee. For His words to me, for the clip from my friend Pam for finishing school yesterday. A little surprise celebration for his love for me, for forgiveness. Later, I had to go talk to my husband and just ask him to forgive me for being impatient and not letting not just letting anything just sit well with me. He's very forgiving. But the Lord after this sort of brought me into Philippians, and what I find amazing today is just how all of this correlates. So we're going to be in Philippians 4, and it's going to be 1 through 7. I'm reading out of Our Daily Bread. You can download that app. You can order that pamphlet online. Tim Gustafson is going to be the author of today's devotion titled Zach's Nature. And we're going to start in Philippians 4, 1 through 7. Therefore, my brothers, you whom I love and long for, my joy and crown, that is how you should stand firm in the Lord, dear friends. And it says exhortations. I plead with this city and I plead with that city to agree with each other in the Lord. There's two people in the kingdom that were squabbling with each other. Two different opinions and two trying to get at each other about their opinions. And it reminded me so much of what I went through listening to that debate in the disagreements and different perspectives with my husband. I felt this heaviness in there, and I'm sure that Paul did too, as he's pleading with Euodia, and I can't pronounce these names. Sintish. Anyway, there's two, and it's out of Philippians 4:2. But he's pleading with one and he's pleading with the other to agree with each other in the Lord. Yes, and I ask you, loyal yoke fellow, to help these women who have contended at my side in the cause of the gospel, along with Clement and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the book of life. Force goes on to say, rejoice in the Lord always, and I will say it again, rejoice. What stood out to me on that is that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And when we lose our joy in this listening to debates, wondering what's going on politically in our world, not seeing each other's perspectives, trying to get our own across, there's all this focus on what? Division. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. I don't think joy was my strength in listening to the debate. I don't think joy was my strength in speaking with my husband that night. Let your gentleness, this is verse 5, let your gentleness be evident to all. That could have just stabbed me right in the heart right there. Had to write that one out. Let your gentleness. I think I was anything but gentle last night. Trying to process through the debate, trying to process through indifferences with my husband. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but I'm going to say that again. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That was difficult for me to hear today because it was an exhortation to me about my thoughts, my spoken word, and my actions last night. But God says to me, no shame and no condemnation because of what Jesus has done on the cross. And he continues to move and say to me, I love you. I've been here all along. I haven't left you. Thank you for turning back to me. I have so much more for you. More than anything the world has to offer. Stay close. I got you. Tim Gustafson, in his devotion, Zach's nature says, in one of Dr. Seuss's whimsical stories, he tells of north-going Zax and a south-going Zax. Crossing the prairie of Prax, upon meeting nose to nose, neither Zach would step aside. Kind of felt like that last night in the debate. Kind of felt that way with my husband. The first Zach angrily vows to stay put, even if it makes the whole world stand still. Unfazed, the world moves on and builds a highway around them. The tale offers an uncomfortably accurate picture of human nature. We possess a reflective need to be right, and we're prone to stubbornly cling to that instinct in rather destructive ways. Happily for us, God lovingly chooses to soften stubborn human hearts. The Apostle Paul knew this, so when two members of the Philippian church were squabbling, he loved them enough to call them out. Then, having earlier instructed the believers to have the same mindset of self-giving love as Christ, Paul asked them to help these women, valued workers with him in sharing the gospel. And it seems peacemaking and wise compromise call for team effort. Of course, there are times to take a stand firm, but a Christ-like approach will look a lot different than an unyielding Zax. So many things in life aren't worth fighting over. We can bicker with each other over every trivial concern until we destroy ourselves. Or we can swallow our pride, graciously receive wise counsel, and seek unity with our brothers and sisters. So I had to swallow my pride. And my wise counsel was Jesus in his word. And I sought unity with my husband. What are the things you're fighting over right now? How could wise friends help you resolve your situation? That is Tim's charge to us. And his prayer. Soften my hardened, stubborn heart, loving God, so I can truly live in unity, and help me to be open to wise counsel. That brought us into Jesus Calling. Sarah Young's book, you can download that app. You can order her book online. She writes from the perspective of God speaking to us. Today says, I love you with an everlasting love. The human mind cannot comprehend my constancy. Your emotions flicker and falter in the face of varying circumstances, and you tend to project your fickle feelings onto me. Thus, you do not benefit fully from my unfailing love. You need to look beyond the flux of circumstances and discover me gazing lovingly back at you. This awareness of my presence strengthens you as you receive and respond to my love. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let my love flow into you continually. Your need for me is as constant as the outflow of my love for you. And that's today's piece of peace. God bless you.